History 312, Sydney Parker, interviewing
Tim Parker.
Okay. Where did you move to and when?
I moved at the fall of 2015 to Melbourne, Australia.
Why did you move here?
I had been working for a consulting company in the U.S. and did the U.S. portion of a project that originated out of Australia. And when the U.S. portion completed, the team in Australia asked me if I would be interested in moving there and building a practice there.
Did you have other places to consider?
Not at the time. It was really an opportunistic move.
What was the process of moving to a different country versus a new state?
The biggest challenge was the visa paperwork. So it was submitting paperwork that included information about your personal life. So I had to submit documentation about my previous marriages, about my children that were going there with me, my work history, my military history. So it took a few weeks to get all of that paperwork processed before I could even consider moving over there.
What did you choose to bring with you to the next place?
My daughter came with me, but from a possessions perspective, really didn't take that much. It was all of my clothes and then a small amount of personal stuff like bedding and towels and things like that. I didn't take any furniture or any other kind of large home goods with me.
Was it hard to leave all this behind?
It was. So I had to put all of my furniture, some of which I had just recently purchased, in storage. And then obviously I had friends and family in the U.S. that I had to leave behind.
What insights did you gain about what's important?
One thing is it was really nice in the moving process of not having to worry about transporting furniture back and forth and things like that. The living there, though, gave me an opportunity to realize, because it was so difficult to visit family, that living to family was important.
Would you pack everything up and move to a new country again?
I would consider it if it was the right opportunity and location.
What was your favorite memory in Australia?
I think it's kind of tied between two places. One was going to the Great Barrier Reef. That was just an amazing experience. But the other was going down and taking an overnight ferry to the island of Tasmania and going around Tasmania and then getting a VIP tour at an animal rescue farm.
Were you lonely? How did it change you?
You were with me for almost all the time, so that was helpful. And then my youngest daughter went back and forth. But I definitely missed a lot of friends and family. And then, like, from a dating perspective, it was challenging because I was only going to be there for a temporary period. And, you know, a lot of people didn't want to start any kind of relationship because of that.
Did you know anyone who already lived there?
I did know a few people, but most of them actually lived in Sydney, which was, you know, just a quick flight away, but quite a bit of a drive.
How did that help, knowing people there?
It really made a difference because it was helpful to, you know, just ask questions about what the process was for doing certain stuff. Driving there is very different rules, even the same to some degree banking, and even things here like utilities and things like that. It's, you know, some things are very different there. And knowing, you know, here in the U.S., you kind of know the difference between cell phone providers. Going to a foreign country, it's all different cell phone providers. So you really don't know which ones have better coverage versus better prices and things.
Do you miss it? Want to move back?
I do miss it. I don't think I'd want to move back, but I would like to go back for visits. It would be nice if I could take even extended visits, a month or two.
What experience did you have in Australia that you could only do in Australia?
I think the main thing was being able to go to the Great Barrier Reef and snorkel around that and, see that.
What was the worst part of Australia?
I think the worst part was just the distance away from anything, not just from the U.S. When I first planned to move there, I thought it would be a lot easier to travel around other parts of Asia. But really the closest place was, over 9 hours away by flight. So just the distance from everything else in the world really made it tough being there.
What opportunities did Australia bring for you?
So definitely from a career perspective, I was able to go there and have an opportunity to really be out front building a practice, which really helped growth in my career. From a personal standpoint, and even from a career, it opens you up to new perspectives. They have a very different culture as much as they speak English and have a very westernized culture. They have a very different view of kind of social and even work norms.
Did you get to explore a lot?
Not as much as I would have liked to. I went up on the northern coast. I went down south to the island of Tasmania and to Sydney, and then did a road trip through the middle of the outback, back over to the coast again. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see much more of the middle of the country or any part of the western.
How long were you in Australia?
About a year and a half.
What did you leave behind?
So in that time, I was able to make some good friends there. And so now I have the reverse, where I have friends in Australia that I would like to hang out with more, but unfortunately they're, 24 hours away by plane.
If you could pick anywhere to live next, like you did in Australia, where would it be?
In Australia or just anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world.
If I could live anywhere, I think it would be nice to either live somewhere in Europe. That would be really easy to explore, a lot of different cultures in a very small geography. But for just pure relaxation living, it would be nice to live in the Caribbean somewhere.
That's it. Thank you.